Racing to the 2025 Kentucky Derby, and this time we kick off the Louisiana stretch to the Kentucky Derby. We started off with the Gunrunner Stakes. Of course, this is going to be on Saturday, December the 21st. It's part of a big card that does include the Untappable Stakes on the road to the Kentucky Oaks, but the Gunrunner Stakes is going to be going a mile and a 16th. It's for 2-year-old colts. A field of 5 has been entered, including some lightly raced runners, and we've got trainers Brad Cox, Ken McPeak, Steve Asmussen, all with horses in the Gunrunner Stakes. This is part of the Kentucky Derby prep season. 10 points to the winner, 5 points for second, and all 5 runners will receive points on the Kentucky Derby trail. Let's take a look at this field. A field of 5, small but mighty field. We've got Built, a recent maiden winner. He's by Hard Spun, and Built picked up a win second time out after improving on his speed figure from that first race. Render Judgment goes for trainer Ken McPeak, picked up a win at Churchill Downs, then went into the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes. Another 2-time winner is Magnitude. Magnitude, a winner for Steve Asmussen in an allowance race. He also has a maiden special weight win, Magnitude, here in the Gunrunner Stakes. Then you've got Chris's Revenge. He broke his maiden in start number 2. That was at Belmont at the Big A. Ran evenly in his debut, comes out of an allowance race at Churchill Downs, makes his first start here at the fairgrounds. Rounding out the field is Admiral Dennis, a maiden winner in his last race, improved in start number 2 for trainer Brad Cox. A small field of 5. We've got Built and Admiral Dennis coming off big speed figures. Render Judgment dropping in class. Chris's Revenge, a winner on the New York circuit. They're always tough when they travel across the country. Let's take a look at this field, the race replays, kind of show you some of their trip notes. Starting off with Admiral Dennis, I like the fact that he's by Constitution. I think he'll get better. He had a big crop of 2-year-olds this year. Churchill Downs is the scene of his maiden win, draws off to a powerful victory. I like the fact that he improved in his second lifetime start. Brad Cox, always a contender in these fairgrounds and Oaklawn races. He'll move horses back and forth. Admiral Dennis, a winner in start number 2. Magnitude is another one to take a look at. Churchill Downs win goes wire to wire for trainer Steve Asmussen. He's by the sire Not This Time. He's got a large crop of 2-year-olds. Got some runners with some nice mares out of this crop, his first big crop at that bigger stallion price. Of course, he's got a couple of wins, and he did fight off a couple of challengers in that win at Churchill Downs. Magnitude with 2 wins, trained by Steve Asmussen. Render Judgment's going to go for trainer Ken McPeak. Let's take you back to Churchill Downs. He fights them all off down the stretch. I like the fact that he had a runner on his inside, some runners on the outside. Render Judgment picks up the win that day. And then after that race, goes into the Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes, ends up running 5th, but First Resort got the big move that jumped that day. Track a little bit front running. I think Render Judgment going to like the long Louisiana Fairground stretch. Drops in class for trainer Ken McPeak. You've got Built, who comes off a win sired by Hard Spun. Let's take you back to Keeneland. Big effort this day, 7 furlongs, draws off to the powerful victory. Nice speed figure, seems to be improving again with lightly raced horses. I always take a look at that second and third race. That's where they kind of jump up and can change their running style. They a lot of times will learn how to track a runner or move forward in their positioning. Built a solid win in that win at Keeneland. Chris's Revenge, a win at Belmont. Lost at Churchill Downs last time out. 3 starts. I think he's still improving. Can improve here in start number 4. He doesn't need to be on the lead, but he's got tactical speed and can be forwardly placed, where I think the fractions could be a little bit slow. Chris's Revenge, a contender in the Gunrunner. Now, when we look at the pace of this race, I think it's going to be more of a jockey's race, an average pace, maybe even a slow pace. I'm going to put Built and Admiral Dennis. Those were the horses most likely to lead at the 6 furlong mark. I think Built with that inside post position. He may try to send a little bit more. Chris's Revenge will sit just off the pace. Maybe Magnitude. He has some speed, but I don't think he wants to go to the lead here. Render Judgment, I'm going to put him at the back of the pack. I think he's more experienced. He can lay off the pace. A lot of times the Ken McPeek runners are trained to come from off that pace. So an interesting pace. I think it's going to be an average to slow. Built and Admiral Dennis, those are the runners to consider when you're looking at that 6 furlong leader as they lead them into the stretch with a quarter of a mile to go. Now the big handicapping questions, you've got Admiral Dennis, got to switch tracks, long Churchill down stretch. Now he comes here to the fairgrounds. Then you've got Built, a winner at Keeneland. Nice maiden win, but he's got to face winners for that first time. Hard spun. If the track comes up sloppy, I like Built on a sloppy track. Render Judgment drops in class. Ken McPeek, always dangerous in these stakes races. Render Judgment, a little bit more experience than some of these other horses. So those are some of the big questions to look at when you're handicapping the Gunrunner Stakes. Now the form, we've got maiden winners in Built and Admiral Dennis. The allowance stakes runners in Magnitude, Chris's Revenge, Render Judgment. Chris's Revenge and Render Judgment shipping in to the fairgrounds for the first time. Built and Admiral Dennis may have a little bit more of a pace advantage. Now my top selection in the Gunrunner Stakes, I considered a couple of horses. I'm going to go with Built. I like the post position. I think he can be forwardly placed. I think he's improving. And I'm going to play him in exactas, try to get a little bit better price with Magnitude and Admiral Dennis. Built as my top selection here in the Gunrunner Stakes. Other contender is maybe Admiral Dennis if you want to consider another runner for the pick 5 or some daily doubles. A nice win last time out, still improving and should be able to get the distance. Points races continue on the Kentucky Derby Trail. After the Gunrunner and the Untappable on December 21st, we kick off the new year. The Jerome Stakes at Aqueduct on January 4th. The Smarty Jones Stakes at Oaklawn Park also on January the 4th as we start to get deeper into the prep season for the opening leg of the Kentucky Derby points races. Again, free racing picks on Saturday. The picks will come out after the scratches. Sign up below in the description. If you've signed up for the other tip sheets this year, you're good to go. We're going to do about 20 of them in 2025. It's free to sign up. Sign up in the description. And the season-long conversation on the Triple Crown 2025, 2,000 words every Monday. That's going to start up Monday, January the 6th, our first edition for 2025. Sign up below in the description. Our 4th year on the Kentucky Derby and Triple Crown Trail. The Fairgrounds Road to the Kentucky Derby. We've got the Gunrunner. Then we go to the LeCompte Stakes in mid-January, the Risen Star at 1 1/8, and the Louisiana Derby, 1 3/16, a 100-point race on the road to the Kentucky Derby. Who do you like in the Gunrunner Stakes? Built, Admiral Dennis, Magnitude, or Render Judgment? And leave a comment. Remember, share, like, and subscribe these videos. Support the channel. Who do you like in the Gunrunner? D. Wayne Lucas always says people have opinions. Horses have the facts.